Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Lunch Table Podcast. In this special episode, we have our friend Jorome here. Jorome, how you doing?
Falco.
That late-ass response. Anyway, we're going to review Intergalactic today. If you guys like the video and you enjoy it, please stick around towards the end. And also, please like and share if you're so inclined, and check out our other reviews. But without further ado, Jorome, our special guest, please tell us what you thought about Intergalactic.
It was an ambitious take on trying to find yourself, but also trying to love others while still trying to cope with who am I as a person. And I think it touched on some major aspects. I know it made me check my relationships. I done hit up my ex from middle school like, girl, did you actually love me when you passed me that orange crayon? But no, like, she did respond, but we'll talk about that off camera.
She left you on red.
The T, okay.
No, bro, she loved me. Like,
She blocked you right after.
bro, we know the girl that I'm talking about.
That's some tea for later.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And
Anyway,
yeah, and
dope
Dylan,
series.
what did you think about Intergalactic?
I enjoyed it. I mean, I've said before, I think some things that take place in like modern day settings are kind of like cringe or lackluster, but I enjoyed this. I thought it was a nice, like, I mean, it was a simplistic love story, but it had some nuance to it, and it reminded me so much of Spider-Verse, just like that style and the incorporation of Kid Cudi's like music. Like, I think that worked really well for this show. Like, he made that album just for this movie. And I think the characters were great and relatable, and I think we can all kind of like see ourselves in some of these characters, and it's a great like urban love tale. But what were your thoughts, Akram?
Yeah, there's so many like cool new animation techniques that I've seen in this. Of course, the drop frames are always like one of my favorites too after Into the Spider-Verse. And also we see like even that little thing that they did with like someone shared a GIF, and it was like a live action GIF from like the Oscars, something like that. That was so interesting. I never seen something like that. I don't know. I really enjoyed the show a lot. I'm like not into, like you were saying, like the kind of like contemporary type of characters or whatever, but I really enjoyed it a lot. And I think this is a great entryway to people who aren't too aware of Kid Cudi. I wasn't, I'm going to be honest with you. And I think I might actually start checking out his music because I really enjoyed the music here. But yeah, so let's get into the nitty gritty of it, or as Jorome says, the meat and potatoes of it. So we start off where our main character, apparently he gets a new job at a comics like creation place, right? Or like and so I want to get your thoughts on just like the whole introduction to his friends, right? And just that whole lifestyle, his new pad, which looked really nice. So tell me your thoughts.
Jerome, you want to start?
You could take this one.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So we're introduced to Jabari. He's kind of like this young like illustrator, and he's trying to find his place in New York. He kind of like runs into his ex, and he doesn't have a car. He rides his bike everywhere, so he's trying to like make it out in the big city. I've felt that on so many levels, honestly. But yeah, so he's like having like nights out with his friends, and it really is like a kind of like a love letter to like New York lifestyles, right? And he's trying to make it out and hopefully start a career. And he's a graffiti artist, so he has like this character that he draws called Mr. Rager, which is a homage to a Kid Cudi song. So I thought that was like a cool like throwback. Yeah, and he gets a job at this place called Cosmic Comics, where they keep everything bright, white, and light,
Yeah.
as they say. I was
Oh,
cringing so
Right, I
hard.
know, me too.
But yeah, so he's trying to like find his identity as an artist. I thought it was interesting too. Like his friend gives him like a plant. It's called a worry plant, and it starts to like grow as his like mentality starts like declining, but then it starts dying as like he starts like getting happier and shit, and he starts finding love. And his neighbor Meadow, she's like a photographer too. So I thought this was like it was like a cool like tribute to like local artists like New York that are like trying to find their place and start their careers. So I thought it was like a great like homage to that. And yeah, so slowly he starts meeting with Meadow, and I forgot how they met. It was like
they met at the party because she was
thank
having a
you.
party and she kept waking him up, so he went over there.
Right, right, yeah, because the music was too loud. So then, yeah, so and I love the visuals too. Like the visual storytelling is like so great. Like how they present it, like everything. Like I mean, it's exaggerated, but it's kind of like a representation of like how like our feelings are. Like when we see somebody for the first time, that's probably like how we imagine ourselves. Like just like there's like an aura around somebody, right? And also, I just want to I love like how they incorporate like graphics like into this story, like the title sequences, like everything is like divided into chapters, so it feels like you're like reading like a love story, like a novel or something. And then like every time like somebody moves, like the title cards will be there or something. Like even his hoodie, like it said closure. So I thought that was really cool. Um, but yeah, enough of my ranting. Jerome, what did you take away from this story?
So yeah, I think it was a love letter to just basically trying to find yourself in a big city, because when most of the stories that you hear about when people move to New York is trying to find love, establish a career, trying to find a footing in the community, trying to make new friends or keep old friends together. And I think this really enforced the idea of you can start a new journey but still have doubts about why you wanted to start this journey, because we noticed throughout the series, well, not the series, but throughout the movie, he was having doubts. Self-doubt was always in the back of his head. No matter how good he was, he always had self-doubt. But when he got with Meadow and she started to bring, let's just say, the sun to his cloudy mind, the the plant started the wilt slowly
Mhm.
but surely. So it went from a worrying plant to a kind of, I guess, a metaphorically calm plant, because every time he was having self-doubt, it started to grow. But when she was around and his mind was clear, it started to decline and die
Right.
out. So it
Self-confidence
was
plant. Yeah.
the placement of just the little stuff that make you think, oh, I gotta rewatch this again to pick up on the nuances. That was really crazy to me, because most series or even movies don't do that anymore. They just play stuff and be like, okay, it's there. But I feel as though everything that was placed in this movie was there for a reason, which made me want to go back and watch it again, because I know that I missed some stuff that was significant, but it was more background than it was in my face. So now I gotta do like I do with Disney movies and meticulously search for these little nuances. But when it comes to overall about this movie, it shows truly how the bonds that we form can shape your whole future. Because his friends, even though they was quirky as all hell, they each played a role in helping him become the person that he was by the end of the movie. For example, Ty Dolla Sign character. His character was more out there, less for the lack of better terms, but he was still one of the best bros. Even his other friend, what was his name? The white boy.
Jimmy, yeah.
Well, yeah, Jimmy. He was cool as hell. Like he was if Ty Dolla Sign was the oomph, he was the level one, like in terms of mood and all that. But he was still there. Like they each fit, and I feel as though series series nowadays don't have that piece that just fits. It seemed like everybody fit. Meadow fit. Even the home wrecker,
Carmen.
his ex girlfriend,
Carmen.
even that heifer, like even she fit because she was a part of his journey. In the later chapters, she was trying to creep her way back in, and she knew what she was doing. She knew what he wanted by not hitting her up like that and keeping distance, but she kept forcing the issue. Then later on, we saw what that did. It really drew a line between him and the girl that he was pursuing, which was Meadow.
Mhm.
But even her character played the role in helping him grow up to be the man that he was by the end of the movie. And she also helped him overcome some of his self-doubts of, can I really move on? Is my heart really for this woman? Can I really step out and find love again? So each character played an important role, but the placement of certain things from an aesthetic standpoint, like I know Akram, you design damn near everything for this podcast, low key. Dylan, no shade. You be helping, but Akram really don't sleep in this podcast because he be.
he's not
And I
wrong.
know that you can appreciate
Mm.
like certain things, like from a designer standpoint. Both of y'all is when you can really tell. Oh, they put that there with care. They didn't just place this. They wanted me to see this, or they wanted me to rewind this back and be like, that placement, certain placements with the designs for the clothes, or like certain signs. If you look closely, you be like, oh, this sign is actually saying something about the plot. I'm just not looking. And that was super dope to me because, again, most series nowadays don't take the time to establish what it wants you to know from a plot standpoint by adding little details like that. It's just always straight to the punch. This is what the story is, X, Y, and Z. But this one took the time to have little stuff, like little placements of certain items that you wouldn't expect. They just put it there. So from a design standpoint, it was like, I actually couldn't get down with this. Even though at times I felt the character movements was a little like wonky. Like they started off moving at a normal pace, but then they like stutter stepped.
Yeah, it was
And
weird.
it was throwing me off. But I got used to it, but it's an animation thing. Not gonna appreciate it, but that stutter stepping sometimes in important scenes was a little like, ugh,
It was
please
like a weird
stop.
like frame rate thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
That
like,
kind of like threw me off too.
bro, I thought it was my Netflix buffering. Like, no.
My
like,
Wi-Fi was down watching that.
yeah, like Verizon, hold up. Like, I'm getting to the good part. Like, we got to shoot at 4 o'clock. What is you doing? But no,
Well,
it was a dope.
I wanted to throw a question to both of you. So, do you think like, because it's so funny because I'm watching Rami now and I'm learning so much about Arabic culture. But do you think like this put like Black culture, and especially like Black like dating culture, into like a positive light, or what did you think about it?
I mean, I think it was pretty. This was natural as fuck, to be honest with you. There were like some like key moments, like in through the dialogue where she talked about Black culture here and there. I thought that was sweet because she's Black, right? Why not? And I thought it was really natural. And I'm glad that they didn't take away from anything because the main forefront, like Jerome was saying, like everybody made him who he is. Like he's learning, he's taking things, right? I mean, we're in a universe filled with stars. All these people are stars, and they're helping him become brighter along the way. And the love is his life also did the same. So I think that was the forefront of it, and I appreciated it all the way through. What do you think, Jerome?
Um, it's kind of weird to me because it's always a stereotype when it comes to Black love. And it's never one of them stereotypes that you can be like, okay, it's passable. It's always Black love isn't sustainable, or the women are feisty, combative, too masculine, or the men are simps. They more feminine now. And this movie actually shined the light that Black love isn't toxic. It's actually beautiful. We do have culture when it comes to our love. Like, we may not show it all the time, but just like any other form of love or self-expression with another human being, there are dark moments, there are challenges, there are ups and downs, but it's a lot of beautiful stuff. This man actually found love, and this woman who was so she had her wall so built up that at the first sign of trouble, she ran instead of asking. And that's usually one of the things when it comes to Black love. They be like, oh, just love in general. Nobody stays to commit anymore. The first time they run it, or nobody knows how to talk. There's always a combative nature between a relationship, and it actually showed that, especially when it comes from a Black love standpoint, or just let's just say from a love standpoint in general, that every relationship has toxic moments. Every relationship has moments where I can't stand you, or we're not seeing eye to eye, but through communication, through understanding, through just the concept of we're going to have these problems, but I'm going to still be here. Like, if we have an argument, you're not going to your mom's house. We're going to talk this out. And that's beautiful, especially since they stereotype Black love as to be animalistic in terms of a bad nature. And it's like, no, this is beautiful. Like, they showed you this is what Black love can be if you give it time to flourish. And wonderful thing.
Yeah, well said, Jerome. Yeah, I definitely agree. I feel like there's so much, especially like for black men, I feel like there's such a like stereotype or like a stigma, like black men can't like communicate like their feelings well in relationships, and I feel like they address that because like Jabari is a very communicative person. Like he even with Carmen, like he expresses that closure to the end. Like, hey, I think we need to not be friends because this isn't healthy for both of us, right? And in even you address like the toxic thing where it's like people like can't communicate. Like he even talked to like that young kid like that was like ghosting his girlfriend or whatever, and he was like, well, you actually like you don't why don't you just like go to her and like just like talk to her and break up with her, right? So I love that they like address like those little like social issues that you don't think about, but in today's like climate it feels like it's so like norm now for like people just to like cut each other off and not like communicate. So I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, awesome. Well, since we talked about that, I wanted to ask you guys. This was an ensemble of a great cast. I mean, we had people again like Ty Dolla Sign, Vanessa Hudgens, and Macaulay Culkin even in this film. So I wanted to ask you guys, what did you think of the overall performances from every actor here?
Bro, I'm not gonna hold you. I did not think Kid Cudi would be able to pull the role off so well because I know Kid Cudi from his mixtape days, and that was him rapping. So him doing voiceover, everybody can't do that transition smoothly. We see a lot of people that singers, actors, whatever you want to call it, sports people that try to do voice acting and it doesn't work. But for him to be so natural that at one point I didn't know it was Cudi voice.
Yeah.
And it took me a minute and I'm like, okay, same with Vanessa Hudgens. I did not know it was her until I actually paused the video and I was like, I know this voice from somewhere. And then I'm like, okay, so I pulled up an episode, the Rent live action that came on ABC that she played in. And I'm listening to it side by side. I'm like, oh my God, that's Vanessa. I'm like, the voice cast actually did their thing. Even Macaulay Culkin when he played Downtown Pat, I'm like, yo, the voices fit the characters. And you wouldn't even been able to tell, like, oh, this is Jaden Smith. This little boy is actually Jaden. Like, it was just so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, great ensemble cast. Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't expect like some of the performances, honestly. And yeah, like Jerome said, like Kid Cudi did like such a great like natural performance as Jabari, and yeah, and everybody was great. Like Laura Harrier, Vanessa Hudgens, Jessica Williams as Meadow. They just gave like such a natural like performance, and I really felt like these characters were so like you can meet them like on the street or something, like just walking, or like you go to art gallery and you just meet something. It just felt like so relatable, and they didn't felt like fake performances of like, oh well, sometimes they did like the like the Puerto Rican dude, like he felt like such a caricature at sometimes, like, oh yeah bro, like that. It's weird because like sometimes like the culture seems like it's like there on purpose, like with the whole what was it, that Stush app.
Yeah.
It was where they kept like throwing it around. So
Oh,
it's like Tinder. Like I feel like that was like a motif, was like that app. It was like it's such like a big thing now where it's like, oh, everybody's like a bro or whatever. But there was some performances like that felt like natural. Like Jimmy, like you said, like Timothy Chalamet character, like he felt like just like a natural like dude you could just like talk to and hang out with. But yeah, how did you feel about like the different like, because there's different like animation styles in this movie, not just like one like painterly style. But I loved all of them. But like, what did you guys think? Akram, starting with you.
It's funny because most of the time they switch to animation, it's like for something very sexual. So we had the Russian hacker, Kai was saying something
That was
about.
wild.
Yeah. I
yo,
was like, "Oh,
fuck
is
the
this the
shit out of
episode of
her.
Love, Death, and Robots?" It was really interesting. And then we had the what was it, the ninja sushi place.
Oh my
Um,
god.
that
Yeah,
was something else, huh? Yeah, I
that
mean,
might as well
again,
been hentai.
you know what's the funny thing is that they smoke weed a lot here too. Like everything is very like this naturalistic. Like the voice acting is very like natural, and everything feels like it has a synergy, and that helps a lot through a narratological standpoint. You need that, right? So the story will actually go way more smoother. And it's funny you made comment of the Tinder thing, and then yet intergalactic, right? The universe, and then we're talking more about the universe rather than something from a computer. So I think the animation in general was really awesome. Again, I'm a big fan of like that Spider-Man type of animation. The stop frame kind of thing was a little bit distracting sometimes, but when they switched, I think it's really cool because it kind of went like to an anime aspect, and then it went to like a different type of aspect for the laundry room. I think the laundry room is probably my favorite one, just because I was like, I got to turn the volume down, and like, let me turn the volume down. So what, Jerome, what did you think?
No, boy, you're not about to skip past that. You're a freak. Like, you're not about to skip.
He turned the volume up. He was like,
Like, no, let me go get the headphones real quick.
He played that joint like 3 times over.
Right.
No, like Loki, if you did have headphones, you could hear him clapping her cheeks.
Really?
Yeah, like I had my AirPods in and I turned them all the way up and I heard the clapping.
Oh.
I'm like, oh, okay. Like I'm on a bus watching this. Like, I hope this lady next to me does not hear this. Like
Probably
you can hear the
she was
clap.
like, oh, can I have an earpiece too? Can I?
Yeah, like and then you was the clap. I'm like,
sheer freak boy.
Right.
but it was funny as hell because the animation style truly only changed when it was clapping cheeks. Like y'all so freaky. Whoever was designing that part, they only changed the animation style to clap cheeks.
That's so true though, because like every time somebody was talking about like hooking up or having sex or some shit, they did that. Like
The animation style
with the $sign dude, and then
Karina.
The first date.
The first date.
Karina, yeah.
And yeah, with and then like Macaulay Culkin, like that weird like 2D animation too. That's so true what you said.
Every time it came to clapping cheeks, they switched the animation style. And it's funny because since I have like an artistic eye, like I just notice certain things that draws my attention and then I can't stop looking at it. And the way that they drew thighs on these female characters for no reason, like bro, she was not this thick in them clothes. Who did you just HD enhance like this? Like, no, like okay, the Russian shorty, the Russian hacker, that bitch was from Cyberpunk. I don't care what nobody say.
Not this
But
again.
She was thick.
Right.
Like that was his whole premise of going at her. But when he lifted her up to place her on the table, bro, she grew like 6 more inches of thickness for no reason. I'm like, yo, y'all are so petty. Like, why? Just why? Like, we get it. They clapping cheeks.
That joint.
Yeah, the illustrator probably in that joint got his Apple Pencil in one hand, just jerking off. Like, yeah, the audience gonna love this one. Like, no, boy, sit your horny ass down. How thick do you want her?
Yes, that's what the meeting was like.
Like, he about to be on a whole hentai site. Well, about 10 o'clock, bro. Watch.
You know, I think they do that because the sexual content that occurred between Kai and Karina's sexual experiences were more gratuitous, whereas the sexual encounter that Meadow and Jabari had was more of a sensual experience, and it was more sweet, and there was like this type of nice music going on in the background. So I think that actually was really cool that they did that, because it kind of shows you, well, these people are different in a way. Yeah, everyone's kind of different, right? But these people, they love each other. It's something much more. It's not just sex. That's what Meadow said, right? So I
that was the whole premise.
It. Yeah, 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 for sure.
It was still weird though. Because
I guess that's gonna
at one point, like I love the music selection for the sex scenes because they match so well. But every time I play them there, because I know I'm going to add them to my Spotify playlist, I'm just going to think of the scene because the scene stood out so much. And granted, I knew what y'all was trying to do with the creations of the scene, but it's like now every time I hear this album, I'm just gonna be like, okay,
the whole environment like changes.
Yeah, like okay, we in a sushi shop. Okay, I'm about to, bro. Really said, think about it. Ty Dolla $ign character really said, I can't even think about laundry sheets or some shit like that without getting hard.
Like, every time I sniff soap or some shit.
Yeah, like bro, so you just not washing clothes now? Like, bro, like when you get your clothes, you just think about shorty. Like that was wild. Like his whole character was just. It's like if us three was the characters, I would be his character. Like just because of the wild stuff that he was saying, like I'm like, bro, really me out here,
Right.
Because that's some shit I would say, like Dylan would be Akram would be Jabari because the way his position is.
It'd just be like slow frame rate, like every stroke. Just
Oh goodness. Well, that's wonderful.
bro.
That's interesting, man. That's really interesting. Well, good luck to you if you ever go to a sushi shop and you're on Spotify for some reason. I hope the person you're with is at least a little bit attractive or that suits your needs.
No, bro. I'm gonna text the group chat, be like, it's time.
Oh no.
I'm still gonna be thinking of those fucking like vagina hors d'oeuvres that they were serving at the party.
Oh, that shit was wild.
The fucking vagina. Did y'all peep that the vaginas was pierced as well?
Right.
Like,
You know what?
they
I
was
did
all
it, but now
pierced
looking
vaginas,
back, it
bro.
definitely was.
That was wild.
You kind of could have went with this review without telling me that, but yeah.
Like, it's something that I had no choice of peeping because the twins that was dancing in the costumes, they was pierced. Like, and I'm looking like these grown ass men roboting in pussy costumes.
Right.
Oh my
I'm
god.
still mad when like he said, "Oh yeah, the party's not gonna be that weird," and then they walk through the door. It's just like
Right.
two spread legs, just like wide the fuck open.
Bro, that's so wild. Like, can you imagine you just walking a party and the boy just come in front of you in a costume like that? Like,
In a whole
bro,
vagina.
That's
costume.
New York for you. That's the
bro, that's
message.
Kensington for you.
That's some LA shit. I feel like, to be honest with you.
Well,
But
yeah.
yeah. So I think we've said everything great about the show. But do you guys like have any final thoughts, and like how would you rate this movie?
Yeah, let's start with Jerome.
I give it, honestly, and this is me being like objective, I give it an 8 out of 10. Only because sometimes the change in animation threw me off too much for my liking, but overall, I'm definitely going to rewatch it and recommend it. So 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that makes sense. I think for me, I give it a 9 out of 10. Just because the way how the story was structured, I really appreciated that, and everything else, the music and stuff. That's why I want to start listening to Kid Cudi. I really liked it. How about you, Dylan?
Yeah, I have to agree with you guys. I'd give it an 8 out of 10. There was a lot of things I liked about it. I loved like the color palette choices. I think the casting was great. They even got like Keith David in to play Mr. Rager. I thought that was cool. Just like the different homages to like different genres, like art. I really love that. They even show like the cause, the skull bone like statue. I thought that was like cool, like little throwback. So yeah, great movie overall. I mean, it's not perfect. I mean, like the frame rate thing was a little distracting, and sometimes I feel like the beginning was a little bit slow build up. But I think it's a great way to reintroduce like Black culture and the Black love story, right? And just overall like love story in general. I think it's a great like because we don't really see that too much in animation. It's mainly like everything like animation is like just action, 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 right? But it's a relatable love story, and I feel like it's weird too, because like I wonder why they made it into a movie too, because like they broke it up into chapters. I feel like this could have been a series too, but it's interesting to me that they made it into like a movie, right? But yeah, overall 8 out of 10 for me.
Cool.
Can we just talk about how Bull was undefeated with that bike? Like his tricks on that bike was something crazy.
He
Like,
could have become pro. Go
like,
X Games.
did you not see him in his dream? Like he was kick flipping with the bike, everything.
There you
Like,
go.
That's how you know it was like a real anime.
Yeah, there you
that
go,
bike
exactly.
survived like everything in New York.
like Bull channel his inner miles for the
Let's
bike
talk about
scenes.
how he didn't get that shit like stolen by the end of the movie.
That's not New
Like,
York
bro,
for
this
you.
is not New York.
He left that shit everywhere. I was like, damn. I'm surprised he wasn't buying like a new bike like every chapter.
Shit.
No,
And on an
bro, you
illustrator's
seen he
budget?
had spare
Shit.
tires in his room, so he clearly somebody was taking his shit.
Shit.
My man had spare tires and parts in his room. Somebody was taking that bike.
He had a warranty every week.
Oh man.
My man had Apple Care for a bike. Like,
Shit.
Well, guys, I think we pretty much wrapped up our thoughts on Intergalactic. Jerome, where can people find you at?
so right now you can find me on Twitter at BlvkVanitas, BlvkVanitas. Same thing for Instagram and same thing for TikTok.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so guys, check out Jerome. He's gonna be back soon making a lot of content, so he's preparing for that. It's gonna be really exciting, and I hope that we get you on in the lunch table podcast, maybe for the dinner table podcast eventually. Ooh. But yeah, if you guys made it to end, again, please remember to like and share and check out our other reviews. And every week we're constantly reviewing Andor and Handmaid's Tale and She-Hulk, and we have a lot of other stuff that we're going to get into in October. Very busy in that month. But without further ado, Dylan, please take us away.
Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in for this review for Entergalactic. Jorome, thank you so much for joining us. You can follow his channel. You can check our description for his link. Yeah, like Akram said, we have a lot of content planned. We're planning to do a review for Rami Season 3, which is so funny because it's kind of related to this story too. Yeah, October, we're going to have a lot of like Halloween-themed movies coming up. We're doing a Hellraiser review. Halloween Ends, that'll be coming up. Can't wait to review that. And so much more content planned for you guys. And like Akram said, we're doing Handmaid's Tale and Andor as well. So thank you guys so much. And until then, thanks for having lunch with us.
See you guys.